The first season of The Sandman first aired in August 2022. The Netflix show was very successful and has an 87% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Due to the number of viewers the show had on Netflix, it's been renewed for a second season. Stranger Things viewers know that the fourth season was split into 2 parts, and Netflix is considering doing something similar with The Sandman Season 2. Keep watching for details. Starting off, what does Sandman Season 2 need to exclude from the comics? Netflix The Sandman has been renewed, but in order to finish its plot, Season 2 could have to omit crucial elements from the books. While viewers have hailed The Sandman for staying true to Neil Gaiman's comics, the fate of the eagerly anticipated adaptation was in doubt due to the erratic nature of Netflix analytics. Gaiman may need to prepare for the likelihood that there won't be a Season 3 now that Season 2 has been promised. The Sandman comics by Neil Gaiman tell the tale of Dream and his siblings' dealings with the mortal world. This frequently includes brief tale interludes that relate to or interact with the main plot. Season 2 of The Sandman will need to exclude some thematic content from the comic volumes Fables and Reflections and World's End if it wishes to include the numerous turns leading up to Dream's demise and the ensuing turmoil of the New Order. Orpheus, Dream's son, will need to take center stage in the show. Why does Sandman Season 2 have to focus on Orpheus? Because of in-universe laws prohibiting the Endless from killing a family member, Dream's demise is the main plot strand in the Sandman comics. However, Dream breaks this law by releasing his immortal son Orpheus from his existence as a severed head, covering the in-universe explanation for Orpheus's immortality, involvement in a narrative, and separation from his father is difficult enough. That doesn't even take into consideration the reconciliation and the several characters from both the show and the comics participating in the trickery to aid in bringing Dream down after he kills Orpheus. Without the audience completely comprehending Orpheus's part in the narrative and how his father has dealt with him over the centuries, which were primarily introduced in the Sandman comics Fables and Reflections, none of these events can take place. Although there were many other stories in the volume besides Orpheus's involvement, if Netflix's The Sandman wishes to tackle it with the same level of accuracy as Season 1, the program may need to simplify the interjections and complications from the comics. This is particularly relevant if The Sandman suffers from the same abrupt cancellation that many streaming programs have recently. The World's End adaptation from Sandman 2 might only include Orpheus's funeral. The comic World's End is a potential choice for shortening the plot in order to ensure that Season 2 can cover the sequence of occasions leading up to Dream's passing since the conclusion of The Sandman Season 1. The tale of mythical and human characters from the multiverse who were stuck at a magical inn outside of their planes of existence because of a reality storm is told in the Sandman volume. The comic's conclusion reveals that Orpheus's burial, which is attended by almost all of the Endless, is the significant event that is triggering the reality storm as the characters weave tales to pass the time. The rest of the tales told by the other travelers at the inn would need to be cut from the Sandman Season 2 in order to incorporate this particular scene. It's unfortunate that these tales will be skipped, but if Netflix decides to continue The Sandman as a series for a 3rd season, they might be included later. The sequence of events that led to Dream's ultimate showdown would, however, still be as accurate as possible. Deleted scene from The Sandman Season 1 reveals more about Death's life. Death's life is discussed in more detail in a recently released scene from The Sandman Season 1, Episode 6, which was posted by Netflix. Dream is seen asking Death why people are so afraid of her gift as they stroll down a city street. In response, Death remembers a moment when a human questioned her, "How would you like it?" which makes Death reevaluate how humanity regards her. Death decides to live a day as a human and die in order to experience death firsthand. Howell Batiste claimed that the scene was directly adapted from Gaiman's comics and that it's a crucial point in understanding why Death is so much kinder than her siblings. Howell Batiste added that it's crucial for Death to comprehend that no one is ready at the end, since she herself, as Death, still didn't feel ready to let go despite knowing what was about to happen. Death is a lot more upbeat and compassionate than other Endless members like Dream, Desire, and Despair, and Howell Batiste owes a lot of that attitude to Death's own experience with facing death. What should you expect from The Sandman Season 2? In Season 2, 2, Lucifer hunts out the Sandman. After Lucifer was defeated by Morpheus in her world during the series, the Sandman Season 1 finale returned to Hell at the conclusion to demonstrate what she was up to. The demon Mazikeen was assured by Lucifer that the plan the ruler of Hell had in mind would get God exceedingly enraged and bring Morpheus to his knees. Morpheus will have to deal with Desire, the endless brother who Morpheus realized was responsible for his imprisonment, as well as Lucifer's retribution plan and other issues. When the Sandman returns for Season 2, Desire is unlikely to retire. The cast and crew of the Sandman have discussed alternative plot lines the series could follow, despite the lack of information regarding the show's upcoming episodes. Boyd Holbrook, who played the Corinthian in Season 1, has hinted at a potential comeback to the show following his unmaking by Morpheus in the finale. Gaiman has additionally disclosed that Delirium, the newest member of the Endless and a beloved comic book character, may appear in the upcoming chapter of The Sandman. Joanna Constantine's appearance in fresh episodes was also confirmed by Jenna Coleman in November. Although there is no definite information on the next phase of the Sandman's plot, Gaiman did reassure fans that the show remains secure despite the rumored Warner Brothers Netflix dispute. Executive producer David S. Goyer indicated that writing has been going on since July, but casting and production have not yet started. The Sandman's upcoming episodes should be just as well received as Season 1, because there are so many comic book storylines to explore and a variety of intriguing characters to draw from. How can the Corinthian come back in the Sandman Season 2? The Corinthian was defeated by Morpheus in the finale of the Sandman Season 1, and he gave Lucien his skull as a keepsake. The conflict between the Corinthian and Morpheus temporarily put a stop to their lengthy alliance. The Corinthian served as the Dreaming's nightmare and was intended to represent the evil of humanity, as Morpheus said in the Sandman Season 1 that he originally believed it to be his finest work. Unfortunately for Morpheus, the Corinthian came up with different ideas and left the Dreaming to enter the world of the living, which resulted in Morpheus being imprisoned there for more than a century. The Corinthian captured many people's attention when Morpheus was imprisoned and rose to fame as a notorious serial killer. Because of his fame, the character served as an inspiration for numerous other murderers, which caused him to be a guest of horror at a murder conference at the conclusion of The Sandman and bring Jed Walker with him. The Corinthian's plan to defeat Morpheus involved using Jed's sister Rose Walker, who was able to eliminate Morpheus and the Dreaming by virtue of her status as the Dream Vortex. In order to avoid dying, Rose refused to carry out the Corinthian's instructions and offered Unity Kincaid her Dream Vortex instead. The Corinthian was not rebuilt by Morpheus when the Sandman Season 1 came to a close. The episodes of Sandman 2 could be split into parts like Stranger Things Season 4. For the Sandman Season 2, Netflix may forego its customary binge-style release in favor of batching it like Stranger Things Season 4. The Sandman published all 10 episodes of Season 1 in early August, and even a bonus episode was released 2 weeks later. The show has a solid cast that includes Tom Sturridge, Gwendolyn Christie, and Jenna Coleman. Positive reviews and great ratings accompanied the show's Netflix launch, with 69 million hours of streaming in the first 3 days and rising to 127 million in the first week. Since Netflix has decided to extend The Sandman for a second season, they'll probably search for ways to increase viewership and build on this success. Everything's on the table when it comes to Sandman, according to Peter Freelander, president of Netflix's US and Canadian scripted series. Considering that Neil Gaiman's work is a major IP with a sizable fan base even before its Netflix debut date, putting everything on the table is a brave and wise decision. So what do we know about The Sandman Season 2? After a time of uncertainty, The Sandman was revived in November, and Neil Gaiman personally advocated for the renewal. Showrunner Alan Heinberg said in an interview that preparations for The Sandman's upcoming season began much earlier. For 20 weeks, according to him, they met in a writer's room to discuss Season 2 of The Sandman, break down storylines, create outlines, and produce first drafts. Even further, he has begun preliminary discussions with production design and visual effects, setting up everything for Season 2. With this, it's very likely that Heinberg intends to work with the same group as in Season 1. Heinberg declined to provide a particular figure when asked how many seasons The Sandman will have, but noted that with the availability of so much source material, the program might last for a while. Only 2 of The Sandman's 10 soft cover volumes were featured in Season 1. There could be at least 4 more seasons if the pattern of 2 volumes every season continues. A switch from Netflix's conventional binge-watching format for The Sandman would make sense because the episodes would be released in segments or perhaps on a weekly basis, which would more closely resemble the release of a comic issue. Additionally, this would fit the trend of adopting 2 volumes per season. If Netflix has been completely transparent with The Sandman, they may be frequent updates and open communication from the streaming service, which would lead to more audience-focused program. We've come to the end of today's video. What do you think about splitting the episodes of The Sandman into parts? Are you also eagerly awaiting The Sandman Season 2? Let us know in the comments section. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.